Have you been told that your child must have a brain MRI for them to be diagnosed as having cerebral palsy? Without that diagnosis or the brain MRI, have you not been able to access funding that is crucial to allowing your child to access therapy? Hi there, it's Neesha from My Favorite Physio. In today's video, I'm jumping in to share a case study of a child who we met recently here at My Favorite Physio. The reason for sharing this is I really want to share with you out there, if you're watching, that you don't actually need a brain MRI for a diagnosis of cerebral palsy, particularly in children under 7 years old. So we recently met this child who we actually had seen when he was 5 years old. He had presented to us at 5 years old with muscle tightness in one foot, where he could not put his foot down to the ground. He, at that point in time, was actually diagnosed by his pediatrician as having cerebral palsy and referred to us for serial casting to manage that foot. We had seen him back then, did a serial cast on him for 8 weeks, got his foot down flat, and he was able to walk flat with it. At that point, the family did not have funding to help them continue therapy, and so they left our service and they were going to try and access hospital-based or community-based service under the New South Wales Health public system. Now, we hadn't seen them for the last 5 years, and they've turned up now, and to my horror, this child's foot is completely twisted and his foot bones come out on the outside while his foot is actually on its toes and unable to get down on the ground properly. He then and his family told me that what has happened was they had not wanted to do a brain MRI when he was 5 because they were worried that he was needing general anesthetic to have the brain MRI. The family declined to do the brain MRI and was basically told they cannot access funding to allow their child to have therapy these years. Now he is 10 years old. His parents feel he can lie down still to have an MRI without general anesthetic. They eventually did the brain MRI, which did show that he had cerebral palsy. What, however, is frustrating is he missed out on 5 years of intervention, and his foot bone is now completely turned and twisted, and he's not been able to run, he's not been able to play sports at school, and he's got pain in his foot, pain in his knee, pain in his hip. And what's most frustrating is he's actually being bullied at school as well because of his disability. So I find that extremely frustrating. I wanted to just jump on and say, you don't actually need a brain MRI to diagnose cerebral palsy, to enter funding to allow your child to access therapy. We can actually determine and diagnose cerebral palsy based on movement disorders that we see. This child clearly had a hemiplegia even at 5 years old. His foot was up on its toes, it was stiff, he had increased tone and spasticity, he has difficulty using his arm as well. We had clearly been able to diagnose him, and he did not need to wait 5 years without therapy to get to this stage. So if you're out there and you've got a child and you're concerned about their movement pattern, or you've been told that your child might have cerebral palsy, but you cannot access therapy or access funding for therapy because you did not carry out a brain MRI, I would love for you to reach out to us, speak to one of our expert pediatric physiotherapists. We're more than happy to help you along your journey so that your child can get the therapy they need to be the best that they can be. And we would love for every child to reach their best potential. The number to ring if you want to speak to one of our expert pediatric physiotherapists is 0297904233. And if you know somebody out there whose child is in that situation where they clearly have some physical needs that require intervention but cannot do so because of funding issues, please like and share this video with them. Until next time, have a fantastic day. Bye.